And welcome to Back to Paranormal. And my co-host here is
Marjorie.
Hi, Marjorie. How you doing?
How are you this evening?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
And I am Brian Mitchell, and I'm the other co-host.
You're the head honcho. You face it.
Well, we are here. We're nice and relaxed, and it's in the evening, and I have a nice Corona Extra with some lime. And Marjorie, what are you drinking?
A big Heineken. I got it all nice and crisp.
Okay, good.
Here, let's boop.
Here,
boop.
we're gonna boop on the air. Here we go. Boop. There we go.
I put a very extra juicy slice of lime in that.
Thank you so much. This is the show that we talk about things that go bump in the night and things that are otherworldly. And I've had my experiences. Marjorie's had hers, and so we talk about that. But the last couple of weeks we've been talking about spiritual stuff and after-death communications and stuff like that. And today we're going to change it up a little bit, right?
A couple of weeks ago we were kind of doing, some talking about some shows that are on TV, streaming about paranormal, this and that.
Yes.
And that's been very interesting. And I thought, this one looks different. We haven't seen this one yet, called UFO Witness. So I said, let's check this out.
And this is on the Travel Paranormal
it's
channel.
On the Now Paranormal, but apparently we're traveling to places.
On the Travel channel.
On the Travel channel, places that don't exist.
Guys, you really need to change the name of that. They need to change the name of Travel Channel because it's basically just paranormal shows now.
You pull up what's streaming on that channel.
That's right.
And it's one thing after another that is otherworldly or topics of high strangeness, as they say.
High strangeness.
So we watched a little bit of this UFO Witness, starring a gentleman named Ben Hansen. I think
UFO Witness.
UFO Witness.
This show was on for 2 years, and the first year they did a full 8 episodes.
Okay.
Which is decent number.
Yeah, that's about.
Yeah, and normally, for cable, that's cable. Well, it is cable TV. It's Travel Channel, but we've seen it on streaming, and 8 episodes is a decent number. But the second year, they didn't do a full 8 episodes. They did 6.
Yeah.
And normally, that's kind of an idea of how popular the show is. But I think we should preface this before we go any further, because I think it's going to be a fair review. And we don't really review shows.
I don't want to call it a review because that makes it sound like we're standing, we're sitting on some
high pedestal
with like a special hat and a clipboard.
You have a clipboard?
No, but that's what I think when people review stuff.
Oh.
I don't know. What do they wear? What does one wear, Brian?
A reviewer? They have that press cap on.
But I don't want to be like the person with the gavel and...
No, but we're going to kind of lay it out the way it is, I think. And
we're talking about it and our opinions.
Yeah, normally... to
which we are entitled.
We are. When we first started this thing, it's our 5th episode, which is pretty amazing.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, high five. There we go.
Thank you.
I think everybody heard that. We were slapping our hands.
Sounded good.
Yes. I wasn't spanking you. I was slapping your hand.
That's later.
Okay. So anyway.
I play.
Okay. So anyway, just getting back to this.
To Paranormal.
Back to Paranormal. We are not reviewing this show, but we're looking for something different because we've seen all the other ones, Ancient Aliens and stuff like that, which, they bring up a lot of questions, a lot of good things on that show. That's another show we should talk about. But Ancient Aliens poses a lot of different questions, and some things they kind of stretch, but they make a good point about certain things that has happened in the past, and so they believe that aliens were here and possibly still are here. But this show, UFO Witness, is basically talking about all the stuff that's happened over the last...
Since 1947.
Yeah.
In the United... I think it primarily focuses on the United States.
I think it focuses primarily in the United States. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about some of the shows that we've seen?
Okay, so you mean the episodes of this show, UFO Witness with Ben Hansen?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to say, I think that this person, and this is just my esteem, I think you know a lot more, and you've read a lot more on the back end of this, but I think he claims he was a former federal agent, and his grandfather did government work in science and engineering. So he feels that he has a very personal link to events that are unexplained phenomena that are happening in our skies, in our seas, etc.
Yes.
And he goes about trying to interview people who have had these experiences.
Yeah.
First, second, third kind encounters with things that are not of this planet or presumed to be not of this planet. And he's trying to get to the bottom of this. I think that this person has an earnest interest in pursuing and getting to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
My feeling, however, is that, and he's very good at interviewing, even though not a lot of that shows.
Right.
He's very sympathetic. I think he empathizes with a lot of people, their confusion, or even...
excuse me. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's allergy season. Where we are right now.
We're suffering. We're suffering, folks.
But, that they have... I'm sorry you're suffering. But you're laughing about it.
I said we're suffering.
I'm not suffering.
You're not... No, but I am now.
No, it's you're on your own and you're suffering.
This is like a tag team match. I suffer, then you suffer.
Yeah, we do. We seem to switch off.
Okay.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
It's
is that
weird.
because then I can care for you when you are itchy eyes and thing, and then you can care for me? We trade off.
I think the aliens are
It's
manipulating
the alien.
us. Yes.
Oh, you know what?
Okay.
I think you're right. No, I think he's trying to get to the bottom. I think he's trying to somehow help people who have had these experiences, because if people do have these experiences, undoubtedly it's confusing. It's got to be, in some cases, traumatizing, on and on. And I think he's trying to get to the bottom. My personal feeling is that each episode does not really crank out the kind of evidence that an audience is really kind of looking for.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same.
But not for lack of trying, Mr. Hansen.
Right. We gave the show, I think, a very fair shot. And I think Travel Channel gave it a really good shot, too. And I think they just came to the conclusion that, that a lot of this stuff is not, I don't want to say it's not convincing.
It's just unsubstantiated.
I think there's just not enough to really make you go, oh, wow, they've really... I mean...
Okay, there was one episode that really knocked my socks off, and that's where he went home to speak to his father.
Right.
And the work that his father's father had engaged in, it was very top secret, it was very hush-hush, took him away from his family a great deal. And Ben Hansen's Hansen Sr. always kind of wondered what on God's green earth was more important for you to be pursuing than to be with me, your son, your family, your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go and they drew these parallels between the dates where
Right. And they coincide with the Roswell.
Grandpa Hansen, they coincided with all these
1947.
various different incidents all over the map.
In case people are not...
That was very interesting to me. But the rest of it, honestly, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just an aside about that. The Roswell incident of 1947, people thought this was a UFO, and the government said it was a balloon. It was a government balloon. And that fueled a lot of speculation because they just felt that, I guess to put it mildly, it made people very weary of what the government was doing and what information they were releasing, and a lot of people felt they were covering it up. So.
A lot of people do feel that the government is covering things up, and whether they're covering up foreign technology, which has not been developed here on our planet,
right,
but comes from elsewhere, or whether it's our own technology, or whether it's a hybrid of the two options, which would be technology that has arrived here from elsewhere, which we have uncovered in our, government capacity and tried to back engineer.
Right.
And those are all three very valid options, and may be all three.
There's a fourth one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think of a fourth one.
The fourth one is they have no idea what it is.
Oh, that is a good option, Brian. You're right.
That's the fourth option, which somebody pointed out somewhere. We were watching this clip, and somebody brought up that fact, and they said, well, they don't want to look stupid. The government does not want to look stupid. Like they don't, they're projecting authority. And so they don't want to say, oh, we don't know. We have no idea.
Throw their hands up. Well, what? Now that you put that into the fray, I will say between a government that knows of some, alien force coming here and doing stuff to people, cattle, whatever, vegetation with very interesting spacecraft, and they know of it and they cover it up, and a government that doesn't know anything at all, let me tell you, I will choose the former.
There you go. I just want to say, and I think it's important that we say this, we're both open to the fact that aliens are coming here.
I am very open to it. I'm more open than you.
I think that
it's a competition, but I'm just saying.
It's not a competition, but no, I believe that we've been visited, and I think through time, I think we've been visited. I believe that. But it doesn't mean that everything you see in the sky is a UFO. It is a UFO. It's an unidentified flying object, and now they call it what? It's a UAP, unidentified aerial
phenomenon.
Yeah. So we saw something. We were driving.
Oh, that's
right. This was last year.
We were coming home.
We were coming home, and we saw something freaky in the sky, and we could not figure this out. I said, what the heck is this?
It was like a fireball way up, huge.
Yeah.
And it just
kept
stayed
going
there.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Right?
Yeah, kind of, because it was going at an angle. So it was moving fast, but it was moving away from us. And so
it's hard when you're in a car
right,
or a train, and you're going one way, and that is
going some other way. But what we immediately, I think we both thought, "What the heck is that?" I mean, that looks really strange. And then I think about 15 or 20 minutes later, we found out what it was.
Well, we had to stop off at the store on the way to the house, and there were other people, and we were like waiting online at the deli counter, which always like takes forever, and you hate it. And I figured, okay, we're here. We just saw something real weird.
Right.
And there were other people waiting on the line, and I just decided to address the assemblage of
course,
eager individuals waiting
Right.
for their cold cuts.
Right.
And I was like, did you happen
to see this? You know.
And everybody was like, yes, what was that?
That was cool.
Dude.
Yeah, we're getting aliens.
And they made videos. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, we were driving. So
Yeah, and we had to tell them no. It was SpaceX.
somebody informed us it was
SpaceX
launch.
Yeah, and really, really crazy.
But for a minute, I was kind of hopeful of stuff. But
Yeah,
it was just good old SpaceX.
but it was an unidentified flying object until we found out what it was, and people see stuff all the time, but it's really funny. A lot of people immediately they go, "Oh wow, this is from outer space. This is an alien," you know.
all my dreams come true.
Yeah. And so there was a John Oliver did a report about UFOs, and a lot of this stuff has been debunked, and apparently easily debunked about that stuff. And like I said, we both still believe it. It's just that, you know, there's not a whole lot of solid evidence out there of this type of thing. And I think with just bringing this back to UFO Witness, and I've made this point before, it's a show. And it's a long show. It's like an hour.
Yeah, they are long episodes.
So the thing I've noticed is throughout the show, they tend to go back to the same people.
The expert.
They got somebody who was involved with Project Blue Book, and they're absolutely ancient.
Do you think they're an ancient alien?
No, I just think they're ancient. No, I think
No, okay.
And I don't know if that has anything to do with maybe the credibility level to me, but there are other people that they've had on. It seems like like I said, they have the same 2 or 3 people on to kind of explain it away. I mean, Ancient Aliens does that too.
They do.
But those people seem to be a lot more credible to me.
I think someone who worked as an agent for Project Blue Book is probably pretty credible.
I think it's pretty credible, but I think when the person is, you know, been retired for like 30 years, you know, I'm not saying they don't like they can't recollect. I'm not saying that because I know people. You know, I do another show, right? And so I've had people on in their 90s, and they're just like
spot
on. But they also talk in it's a regular conversational style. It's not like they're constantly fighting to get a word to come out.
Right.
And I just seem like with this particular show, UFO Witness, that particular person, I'm not saying that, you know, they're not right or they're wrong or whatever, but it just seems like, you know, they're not operating on all cylinders, maybe. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's too much to say.
I don't know.
But that was the feeling I got. And even they interview a pilot, too, that apparently saw this UFO over the water.
The Tic Tac.
The Tic Tac thing.
The Nimitz video.
Yeah, Nimitz.
From the USS. He was a naval pilot.
Yeah. And so,
yeah,
you know, and I don't want to discredit him either, but it just seemed like it was pushing something.
Yeah.
There was a episode
it felt, sometimes when
you're talking to somebody and you're talking to somebody rationally.
Right.
Like we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
And you're telling me about something that happened to you, you know, in the middle of this interview, he goes, "You don't believe me? You don't believe me?" Like that. And it's like, he didn't say anything that was negative. Ben didn't say anything negative.
But just to play devil's advocate, not as though the devil needs more of them, but just to say, you know, it's for that particular individual, he does kind of have he kind of has the kooky eyes. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry, sir. But
Kooky eyes.
the kooky eyes, and he's unshaven, and I'm a little off put by his general appearance. But I will just in his defense, it's been 15 years of people you lay with dogs long enough, you're going to get fleas. If someone's telling you you're crazy for 15 years, I don't know what kind of a side effect that's going to have on his mentation.
It's very
everybody's
possible.
like, maybe he lives in a small town. Every time he goes to the supermarket, the staff are sniggering when
Yeah, it's like, hey, there's UFO Ron.
Yeah, his basic day-to-day life where, so I do want to just defend him in that way, and but yeah, I do get a little off put by it when he just mid sentence is like, "You don't believe me," like, oh. I do believe in these things. I do. I'm very open to it, and quite frankly, I think it's mathematically impossible for us to be the only. If you think about the breadth of
in the whole solar system
universe.
Yeah, the universe, yeah.
But that having been said, people would start to call me crazy too if every single time I heard a creak or a noise or a window shade flutter in the wind, or a door just creak on its own because it was cold and then it got warm and then it got cold again, and and living in an old house, every single bump in the night is a ghost. If I said every single thing is a ghost, every single erstwhile half collapsed bunch of mylar balloons drifting through space is an alien spacecraft, people are probably going to be inclined to call me a wacko.
Yeah.
And I don't blame, I'm not going to, blame them for that.
Well, there's been, recently it seems like there's a lot of people coming out, like celebrities, oh yeah, I saw a UFO, I saw you. And the implication is that, it's alien, outer space alien spacecraft, and a UFO is it's just unidentified. It could be anything. It could be a helicopter. It could be a drone, especially now with all these drones that people are putting up in the sky and stuff. Anything. It could be anything. It could be anything.
The stories on UFO Witness that really made me sad were, and again, I am going to reserve my judgment, but were these people who feel or who say that they have been abducted.
Yeah.
And the stories that they tell, and the fact that they'll tell the same story whether you're a woman from Fairfield, Connecticut, or a young boy from San Jose.
Right.
And that I found to be intriguing, but also really sad.
Yeah.
I mean, that they're taken and brought onto some alien spacecraft and these horrific things are done to them, and then they lose 7 hours of their life and they wake up
in their bed,
not knowing what has been done.
I just find that also very weird. That these creatures. Okay, so somebody gets abducted. They're in their car, and they get abducted, and they don't remember anything. And then they wake up, and they're either back in their car, exactly where they were sitting, or they were taken out of their bed, and then aliens put them back in bed and tuck them in, And it just seems a little bit bizarre to me. It's like, well, why would they care? You just took this person, you brought them up into your spacecraft.
Put a
you
chip
did all these
under their skin.
You did all these experiments on them, right? You did all these experiments on them, and terrorized them, and then you tuck them back into bed,
right?
You
mean, did they get a story or a lullaby?
Yeah. exactly.
No, I don't want to laugh at people who
I'm not.
feel
I'm not.
But at the same time, I know, and no scars.
No scars, no nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, Brian. Honestly, I don't know. But that's the thing: is this show is not like. Does Mr. Hansen say, well, where did they put the implants? Did you have marks? Did you feel anything for years afterward?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's not very...
It's not really...
Not really very, very, you know.
Yeah. And I don't know.
This show leaves me with a lot of questions.
It does leave us with a lot of questions.
And it's like, you know, and the thing is like, see, on other shows, when you're doing investigative stuff, you get people on, and it's just like, you know, you got to kind of trust the person. You know, it's the other thing too. It's you know, showing authority, showing that they really know what they're talking about, and I just feel like there's not a lot of that here in this show.
There's a little bit. You get a soupçon of someone who's got an inside track.
A smidgen.
A smidge.
I'm putting it for the lay people out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was soupçon too. It's French. It's Française.
I'm gonna drink my Corona.
Okay, have a sip of that Corona.
Yeah.
But no. I'm in agreement with you. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, if a praying mantis, a 7-foot praying mantis, abducts me and puts things inside my body. I mean, hell, I don't even have to go that far. If I get a date rape drug and wake up in a weird place, I'm traumatized for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
How these people can go on living after something like that has happened to them. It's if it's true, it's horrific. And honestly, if I were a U.S. government who knew that this was going on, and we're not doing anything about it, well, shame on me.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah,
but I don't feel as though the show goes deep enough to really expose whether the validity of a lot of these things. But you're the one who said that the host of the show has got, like you said, this is just one of the spaghetti that he threw on the wall.
Well...
You said he has irons in the fire and such?
There's he has a lot of stuff going on.
Oh.
So, you know, if you look at his bio, he's very fascinated by stuff like this, mysterious stuff. And so, but
as are we.
Yeah, but you know, his resume, you know, you go through it, and he's majoring in investigative crime scenes and stuff like that. He ended up working for the FBI. And this is the other thing too. You know, they say, you know, on the show that he was a FBI agent.
He says he was a federal agent.
Yeah. And so it was FBI.
Okay.
So anyway, that kind of, you know, and your imagination, my imagination, he must have been studying this stuff.
Well, you immediately envision like
right.
the Men in Black. Okay,
exactly.
With the suits and the hats.
Right. And he was in the FBI, but he was actually investigating sex crimes. And so he wasn't really involved in this type of thing. It was kind of like, you know, he's doing other investigative things. Now, you brought up a very good point, which was, we talked about this before, by the way. You brought up a good point that, yes, his job was to question people about stuff.
If you're investigating sex crimes, you have to be highly trained, I would suspect, at interviewing.
Yeah. But then, like with this show, I just don't feel that the questions are there.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Well, they're just taking, you know, bits and pieces of things that seem to look good on video.
Or is it because he's just trying to be respectful of the people who feel that they have had these experiences?
Yeah, there was one thing that he was asking somebody, have you ever encountered, you know, like a space alien? Have you actually seen one or been at the scene of one? And I think the answer was no. And that's where the interview ended.
Oh.
it left me. So I'll be completely honest. We watched 8 of the 14 episodes that are available, and
8 was enough. Just a little 70s reference for all you.
Yeah, there you go. No Dick Van Patten for you.
Sadly.
Yes, but yeah, I have to say, somewhere around halfway through these episodes, even though it was early enough, I was nodding off because I just felt like the show.
I think halfway is generous, my love.
I would wake up and then I'd be like, oh, okay, where are we now?
I got to the point where I stopped asking, shall I rewind?
Yeah. I think I think after watching the first episode of this,
I don't want this to be a mean girl pile up on Ben Hansen.
It is. I think he's a very credible guy.
I do too.
Okay. But he's done UFO investigation. He's done, it was part of a ghost hunting show. He's done a lot of different things, Bigfoot and stuff like that. And it's like, what's the old term, and I can't think of it right now. It's like master of none,
Oh, yes, jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think when we're dealing with stuff that still doesn't have answers to it, he has a curious mind, as do I, and I am open to it.
Right.
The show, its presentation of the material left me a bit cold.
I don't think, yeah.
And I won't be watching it again.
No, I don't think I'm going to be watching
just
it.
Me.
Well, it's done anyway. I think, they stuck a fork in it, Travel Channel. They were probably contemplating maybe we should go back into the other business of doing, travel shows.
Oh,
because
actually,
of the show.
Traveling places? Heaven forbid. Why do that?
A show about Paris. Yeah. We're ditching this. We're going back. We're gonna go to sunny old England, which is not sunny at all. But yeah,
sometimes it is.
I guess sometimes like once or twice every year, something like that. It's always raining over there.
One thing I will say, and I like the country. I like to see the country.
The only time you're going to see that on the Travel Channel is if they actually go there for a paranormal investigation.
I used to work for an English company, and I had to go to very rural England a lot. And for a very American girl, that was not always the most hospitable environment for me. But I will say, when the sun does come out, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I think. Yeah, even there are parts of New York that are not very pretty, but when you get a nice day, all of a sudden it kind of becomes pretty. With the you get a couple of trees that are
right. Well,
New York City is beautiful.
Lipstick on a pig, but
yeah, exactly.
New York City was beautiful. She was once upon a time.
Yeah. So
well, we're totally not talking about paranormal. We're talking about travel.
We are talking about travel.
Maybe that's what we should do.
What?
Talk about travel
on this particular
podcast.
On this particular episode?
No. Okay.
Okay. I think everybody.
We're bashing the Travel Channel. They have other good shows, though, folks.
They need to change the name of the Travel Channel. They need to just go in there and just say UFO Network or whatever it is.
High Strangeness.
High Strangeness Channel.
Yep.
Something. Yeah, because every time I see Travel Channel, I'm like,
you're not.
Yeah,
but it's the same. We've discussed this with Bravo. Used to be the arts,
and MTV used to be music videos.
Right. Things
or
change,
in concerts.
Brian. Things change.
Things change, but they should change the name instead of just keeping it the way MTV, And it's like, they got to show about a bunch of hungover teenagers in a shack.
Well, Ben Hansen, we wish you well. And in your investigative work with UFOs or Bigfoot or haunted houses, we get it. We get you, and we're the same. Unfortunately, the show kind of...
Maybe he just had a bad... Maybe the producer wasn't that great.
I don't know what to attribute.
Or maybe they had like $10 to produce all 8 episodes or something.
Now you're just really being mean.
I'm not being mean. I just don't feel like...
Well, here's what, my love. We never have to watch that show again.
We're not going to.
It's over.
And Travel Channel did a good job canceling it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm really sorry.
Well,
we'll make it up on the next one. On the next show that we're going to...
I know. What is our next show going to be?
I don't know. I got to see what the running time of this one is. Oh, wow. This is going to be a shorty.
Well, I think we've said all we had to say.
I think we did. Look.
Sorry, guys.
I just want to reiterate, we believe that the possibility of aliens being here...
It's a possibility.
It's a strong possibility. Very strong possibility. And so I think we're going to... Okay, before we kind of wrap this up and talk about next, because something did occur to me. And there is a faction of people that believe that the aliens are among us, that they're coming from below the ocean or beneath the planet, and then they are coming out.
Yes.
So that is... So they're aliens, but they're not of, society here, but they have maybe another society somewhere else, under the water, under the oceans. These are all theories.
It's a possibility.
And everything is a possibility. And that's just one thing. I'm going to bring that up because people have said that. And
a lot of people feel that way. And,
yeah. There was so there's one particular episode, and something I do have to point out before we kind of wrap this up, because you all know how we feel about this show. But there is trying to think. It was in New Mexico. They did a episode where they were seeing aliens come out from like behind this mountain,
the Mesa.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
And so I forgot the name of the city. Was it? Do you remember the name of the city that it was? Anyway, it is a Native American reservation in that city. Yeah.
Apache.
Yes.
It's New Mexico.
Yeah. And I don't believe there's a lot of money there in that area. And there was something pointed out about Roswell.
Well, like you said.
Yeah.
John Oliver.
John Oliver did this segment.
This out.
Yes. Yeah. And Roswell, if you go there today, it's like UFO Central.
Mecca.
It's a Mecca. And so they got 2 museums. They have everything is kind of themed. I think even the street lamps are themed to aliens. They have alien eyes on them, what people perceive, the little green men from Mars and stuff like that. So it is a draw. And when these things tend to draw people are dropping money.
Yeah, there's secondary, tertiary, quaternary incomes. That can absolutely go on and on.
That could be their main industry in Roswell. Sure. And I'm not 100% sure about that it's their main industry, but I have a feeling it is.
Yeah.
In a big way. So, if you're trying to get on that bandwagon.
Sure.
Okay. And
I think this is a valid concern.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that is actually happening, but, if you're doing a whole show on this town and saying, oh, yeah, and everybody's saying, yeah, we see aliens, and yeah, they come up out of the mountain, they go back in, there's a hole behind the mountain, and they, of course, they went back there and they didn't find anything. Mm-hmm. If they're saying that a lot, then basically maybe they're trying to drum up some business. I don't know. I'm speculating.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's actually happening, but the way I think, it's like if you really want to kind of drum up some interest in a hotel today, just tell people it's haunted, and all of a sudden you're going to get people out of the woodwork going to this hotel because they want to experience something.
Sure. Or if you have a bed and breakfast in British Columbia in the woods and you put a big statue of a Sasquatch out in front, and this trail will lead to...
Yeah.
This trail, they'll give you a trail map for $15. And
yeah, there's a town out here called Flanders, and this is on Long Island, New York. And it's not Sasquatch, but they have something called the Big Duck. And what it is this. It used to be part of a duck farm, and they made this giant duck. I think it goes up maybe 2 stories or something like that, 3 stories. And so you drive by it on the street, you see the Big Duck.
It's a big Long Island duck, an American Peking duck.
Yeah. And basically it is. It was done because they wanted people to stop and buy duck eggs. And they figured, well, this will, attract their curiosity. And it's not part of the duck farm anymore. I think that's long gone. But it was transported to another area of Flanders. And it's now a gift shop. And the gift shop sells Big Duck stuff. So Big Duck T-shirts, Big Duck ashtrays, whatever you can think. Keychains.
Ashtrays. Do you know how often you date yourself? Do people still smoke cigarettes? That's like from the days of yore.
People still smoke. They still suck on them. And cigars and all that stuff. And
they have ashtrays?
It's really funny because...
I remember back in the day when...
Disney sold ashtrays, and they would have the castle on it from Walt Disney World and Disneyland.
So people would put their ashes out on Sleeping Beauty's
castle. Yeah.
That's
crazy,
just
right?
Vulgar.
I want to, just on the subject of Disney, I knew a Disney animator that did a couple of shows about space, one about UFOs and spacemen and stuff like that. And it was done in the 50s. But he said, and I believe him because I knew him. I met him, talked to him, went to his house. His name was Ward Kimball.
I knew it was Ward Kimball.
Ward Kimball.
Okay,
And so Ward Kimball said he had film of the Roswell thing. And he said there was actual film of aliens on there. That they were dead, but they were on the tables and stuff like that. So that was, and I absolutely believe him. I
have heard that as well, and I have a very close connection to
someone. Mm-hmm. And we won't talk about that. But no, we both that's why we say we both believe.
I always have.
We both believe that something has happened and something is maybe around us. But as far as aliens go, space aliens.
That was one very disturbing moment of one episode on UFO Witness, I will say. And it really was troubling to hear. Just as troubling as it is to hear of people who go through hypnotherapy and come out with these stories where they were abducted by 7-foot-tall praying mantises and cut open and things. Horribly disturbing, but also the other way around, where this former naval pilot was brought into an area where they had at Wright-Patterson Airfield in Ohio.
Right.
They had retrieved the remnants of a wreckage of an acorn-shaped aerial object that crash landed in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, and which is just slightly southeast of Pittsburgh. And they retrieved all of the wreckage from this area. A lot of people had witnessed it go down, and a lot of people actually saw it in the field or in the woods where it had plummeted. Right. And there were very interesting hieroglyphs that had been incised around the around the rim.
Right.
And then they apparently, some people said there was something living inside.
Yeah.
But then Ben Hansen interviewed this, or obtained the interview transcript from this one individual who saw that they had been working on one of the survivors of the crash, that they had been doing so much work to him, or he was so severely damaged that they ultimately just had to kill him, or excuse me. And I just found that really, really troublesome, because if that is true, I mean,
yeah, it's horrible, right?
Or can you ever call yourself a human being again thereafter?
Well,
I wonder.
Yeah, the sad thing is that human beings are doing horrible things to human beings all the time. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying a small, very tiny.
That is true, sadly.
And so, yeah. I hate to, well, we went there, so.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's all part of it.
I'm not a fan of the show, okay? We've established that. But there were some things about the show where I thought, wow, that's really pretty astounding. And they kind of stay with you.
I think, there's a thing like, if you do a film and you have enough material for 5 minutes and somebody says to you, well, we want to make this into a feature film, so you're going to have to stretch this out to now 2 hours for 5 minutes of material, of good solid material. And now you're stretching, and you're really stretching it out to, I think what happened here with this show, I think they had maybe a good half hour of material, of solid material.
Yeah.
And it was stretched out to 16 episodes, or 14 episodes, sorry. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it feels to me. And there's, it's...
hey, look, a grain of sand can turn itself into a pearl with the help of an oyster.
That's true.
That's not what
But
happened
there was no oyster here.
Yeah.
There's no magic oyster. So, if I had to rate this thing... Honestly, I think I would have watched one episode and maybe given a second one a chance, and then probably would have just cut my losses right there. We watched maybe half of those episodes.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's not a big it's not a recommendation at all. We're not very keen on the show, and I'm sorry. Normally, the stuff that we review on here, or we talk about on here, are things that we want it to be. We want it to be a good show. Normally, it is a good show when we do it on here, but we wanted to deviate a little bit and talk about something. And Marjorie found the show.
Sorry.
And no, it's all right. I'm not. Don't worry. No spanking tonight for you.
Fiddlesticks.
Okay. So anyway, that's where we are on that. So yeah, Ben Hansen, we believe you're credible enough, but the show just didn't have enough information or groundbreaking stuff, to win us over. And like I said, the Travel Channel wasn't too keen on it either, because they cut the cord on it. So anyway,
what are we going to talk about next time?
I think next
we still need to do more research for a Desert Energies episode, but I'm eager to do that.
Right.
But what do you think you'd like to discuss next?
I think we're going to talk about a gentleman. He was Dr. Eben Alexander.
Oh, guys!
And this gentleman was an atheist. He actually came from a family. I think his father was a preacher, I believe, and he became like a neurosurgeon, and he just basically whatever he believed, all of a sudden he stopped believing, because it was basically
life-altering experience.
It was a life-altering experience for him. He actually had something. He went through something, and he was medically, I I think he was dead. I think he was brain dead.
We can tell him about it on the podcast.
We can do that, but what's interesting is he came back and he was a total believer because he was going through something while he was brain dead. And so he's written books about this. He's done lectures. He's done a lot of different things. We're going to talk about his book. Listening
to him speak is really pretty life-altering. It really is. Again, very much like the book that we were discussing from the Guggenheims, I think his interest in helping us get through life and understand that it's brief, it's fleeting. Don't be afraid of living. Don't be afraid of dying.
Right.
Live while you can.
Right.
Enjoy every moment. There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about his book next week.
Yeah. We also saw a movie that pertained to life after death.
It's called After Death.
And we will be discussing that at some point soon, too. But Eben Alexander,
we could do that. We could do Eben Alexander in 2 weeks, and we could do the After Death picture next week.
Okay, let's flip it.
Yeah, let's flip it. Give us a little bit more time to kind of...
Flip it good.
Yeah. Okay, so you just heard that live, recorded on the air.
Thank you for listening to us, as they say, kvetch.
I'm kvetching right now.
Hopefully it'll spare you the...
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, so next week we'll be talking about the movie After Death, which is basically interviews.
What are you up to this weekend?
I don't know. Probably going to be reading a lot.
Oh.
Probably Eben Alexander, catching up on that.
Refresher course.
Yeah. Well, we want to be informed. We want to be able to do these shows and know something. And I think the Eben Alexander thing is going to be very interesting. But the After Death movie, which we saw, was wonderful. And
blew my socks off.
Yeah.
I didn't stop crying the entire time. I was, by the time I'm sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
Again, I must have embarrassed you.
No.
By the time the movie was over, I was exhausted.
I thought it was extremely fascinating.
It was.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that next week, and then Eben Alexander the following week. And how's your beer doing?
Delicious.
What do we have? You're having a Heineken.
Heine.
And I'm having a Corona. I'm still sucking on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been very enjoyable. And I really enjoy speaking with you.
I enjoy speaking with you. And I hope that all of you out there are enjoying the show. And we will be back next week. And we'll be talking about more stuff from out of this world, otherworldly stuff.
Get things right. Back to paranormal.
Back to paranormal. See you. Good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.